Welcome everybody, it's a fantastic turnout here today in New York, and I couldn't be prouder to be sitting here in front of you. So many friends I see in the audience, of course established media, governing bodies, venues, our new partners in Perform as well, to announce a groundbreaking deal in the history of the sport, in the history of matchroom boxing. This is an incredible $1 billion deal over 8 years, for 16 live shows a year across America, promoted by Matchroom Boxing, with Perform on their platform DAZN, to be launched later this year. Firstly, thank you, Simon, for allowing us ahead of time to announce this deal. As you know, I have a huge mouth and I couldn't hold it in any longer. DAZN's official launch coming at the end of June. But we needed to get this out there because I am so excited to shake up the world of boxing in America. And you've seen us do it in the UK. We've done it with a great broadcaster with Sky, and thanks to Barney Francis and Adam Smith for making the trip here today. And recently we made our move into boxing in America. But there were certain things that I needed to be able to take boxing here to a new level, to be able to build a stable, unrivaled, in my opinion, in the world of boxing, which is what we're going to do. I needed a platform that would give us a huge volume of dates. 16 dates, starting in September, a year, per year, for 8 years. Then I needed a lot of money. I needed artillery. And we're dangerous with artillery, let me tell you. And now we've got it, $1 billion over 8 years. We have by far the biggest rights budget in the sport of boxing. And we're going to be ultra competitive. We're going to be putting on the greatest shows with the greatest talent. And this is open season for great fighters in the US. If you're out there, if you don't have a promotional contract, if you're a world-class fighter, we want you from top to bottom. We're going to be bringing through the Olympians, the national champions, growing them across the country, boxing them 8 times a year, giving them the experience they need. If you're a world champion, if you're a world-class fighter, no more fighting once a year, no more waiting on your date. We've got the dates, the money, the platform to be able to give you regular championship content. It was a wonderful opportunity, and now we're sitting there with the biggest deal in rights deal in the history of the sport, and more importantly, bigger rights budget than HBO and Showtime put together annually. So we shouldn't fail.
Eddie, my number one question is this. There's been a lot of entities that have tried, I don't say come over and take over the sport, but they have their own platforms, their own deals. So my question is with this, are you an entity unto yourself, or will you play with other, in terms of other promoters making cross promotions and trying to make the best fights possible?
I have a history of working with other promoters and other networks. So my ego is not yet out of control. I haven't been stabbed by the bitterness knife of boxing yet, which will happen in years to come.
Yeah.
But at the moment, I like to work with everybody. I just like to make great fights. So here you have a platform that is built by a fan, for the fans. And the difference is we're not coming on air at 10 PM because there's a film on at 8 PM. You know, we can do the build-up show, we can show the entire card. This is 16 live events from the US. This is 16 of our massive shows from the UK as well. Other big announcements coming from a boxing content perspective over the next few weeks on this platform as well. But this isn't just a boxing platform, this is a sports platform. Wait till you see the other sports they're going to require. So that will come in time, but thankfully they have identified boxing as a sport that has serious potential, and that is why they have given the 8-year commitment, and obviously a lot of money as well.
What do you think is the main difference between your venture and what the PBC tried to do, let's say 3 years ago?
Well, they didn't have a platform, they bought airtime. That's the first thing. So they had no broadcaster paying them the money. They had an investment group that gave them the money to acquire fighters, which they did very well. But they didn't make progress with that money. We can't make the same mistakes. The difference is we have a platform behind us. So we have rights fees. Now, we don't have an amount of money given to build a brand, to sign fighters. We have rights fees to deliver shows. That's the difference. So with, like I say, bigger rights fees than HBO and Showtime put together, if I fail, I've really done a bad job.
Eddie, my final question is that we know that Top Rank has a deal with ESPN and ESPN Plus. They have their own platform. I don't know what type of broad scope it is compared to yours. From a worldwide perspective, you're now invading America like the Beatles. How do you see the American boxing market in general?
Do you know what? I think the American boxing market is in great shape. I really do. You know why? Because everybody is so competitive right now. So you've got Showtime,
winning at the moment over HBO. You've got HBO have no choice at some point to fight back. You've got ESPN, I think they're doing a great job. Top Rank are doing a great job. Now you have us coming in. So this is great news for the fighters. You imagine being a fighter right now. You could, if you don't have a promotional deal, you can come to me, get my offer. You know what? You go back to your network or your manager and say, I've had this offer. Match it. This is a brilliant time for fighters, and I have to say, when you look at the job that proactive people are doing in the sport, there's some really good people out there. The Barclays Centre, you know, not just saying it because we go there, but these people, Steve, they're working and they're grafting for the sport, trying to make it bigger and bigger. Showtime doing a great job, HBO still, ESPN doing a great job. You guys, the media, more internet reporters than ever. I think boxing's in a really good state. We just got to keep on making the big fights. Unfortunately, the purses have got out of control. Not unfortunately for the fighters. Okay, and the PBC did that. They did that, and that changed the way everybody was paid. And we had to start paying fighters more money. And now we're coming in with even more money than the PBC. So what a great time to be a fighter. But we've got to be sensible. We've got to be smart. We've got to get the right fighters. I'm looking forward to building the future as well as signing the elite names.
Talk about $1 billion.
I mean, look, the money is there to spend on fighters and shows and developing the quality of the content on DAZN. So it's not like I'd love the $1 billion to be for me, but it's not. So obviously,
no, but it's in the sport. It's into boxing.
It's brilliant for boxing. And actually, you listen to people who aren't so bitter. Maybe Bob Arum in his interview at the weekend, who said this is brilliant for the sport of boxing. How can it not be? You know, it's just like the PBC. Amazing for the fighters. It's a pain in the arse for the promoters because what it does is it drives the purses up. But that's how it is, and we had the same problem when PBC came in. PBC were making approaches to our fighters and other fighters, offering them deals which was much more money than we were paying them. And then we had to increase our offers. So it's just brilliant news for fighters, great news for the industry, American boxing, that you've got, like you said, a break or whatever, Ryan, in the game, trying, pushing, trying to improve, trying to push the boundaries of the sport of boxing. So I can't see it being anything but great news for the sport, and it is the biggest deal in the history of the sport, unrivaled. And now we sit there with a budget bigger than HBO and bigger than Showtime. I keep saying put together, I'm pretty sure that's the case. A lot of big name fighters. We've probably got the agreement now of half a dozen, maybe 8 fighters ready for our announcement at the end of the month. Mixture of undefeated guys, mixture of some world champions, mixture of some kids out of the US team, Golden Gloves, who are just as important to us. And there'll be a lot of other guys who we work with potentially on one-off bases. You know, fighters that might want to step away from a network for one fight to get much more money than that network would pay, but maybe don't want to commit to 3 or 5 fights. And that's not a problem for me either. My main objective is to create a home of boxing on DAZN. So you have 16 US fights, 16 of our UK fights. You have another major announcement coming at the end of the month for more boxing content on DAZN that US fans will be so happy about, right? Then, so it's not just about Eddie signing everyone. I don't want a stable of 40 fighters, 50 fighters that I can't necessarily manage, or back to the old problem in US boxing that you're boxing once a year. My guys are going to be nice and active. They're going to be paid more than anyone could possibly pay them. They're going to have the best promoter in the world and best promotional company in the world pushing their image, pushing their brand 24/7, and they're going to have millions of dollars from a marketing budget of DAZN to push them. And there'll be other link-ups between DAZN and broadcasters. At the moment, you know, you see people trying to poo-poo it. Richard Schaefer's a great example. Yeah. Oh, I mean, you know, these people, John Skipper, who has taken over as the head of DAZN, he built ESPN. You know, he built ESPN Plus. These aren't Muppets. These are major, major players. When people like Schaefer talk about Matchroom, we're not Muppets. We're not a one-man band like Richard Schaefer. We're a major organisation, and we are active, and we are relentless, and we are driven, and we don't do no in terms of success. We only succeed. But this feels to me exactly like it felt to me in the early days in the UK. Frank Warren, all the other promoters, Hearn, what's he going to do? What's he going to do? He's just a silver spoon kid who's living off his dad's name. He's not going to get all the dates on Sky. He's not going to get any big fighters. Doubt me now, bitch.
Now, since I last interviewed you, you've become the $1 billion man. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Talk to me a little bit about the deal with DAZN.
It's an honour, a life-changing opportunity for us in that we're building from the ground up. You know, if you imagine the dream job for a boxing promoter, it's to have this huge pot of money to go out to sign fighters, put the fights on you want, but also help with the production, the ring walks, the venues, you know, the canvas, the look and the feel of what these people are trying to do. And they're so bright, they've got so much money, they're so successful in what they do. And people talk about, oh, you know, it's a new platform, this kind of stuff. You have to understand the people behind this. This is Access Industries, this is Warner Music, this is Spotify, the people that own these kind of brands. They recognise that the way people are digesting content is changing. And, you know, we're up against it because no one wants us to succeed in America, but I've been there before. So we're planning at the moment, we've got our first press conference end of June, early July, announce our first shows, announce our new signings, and I can't wait.
Talk to me a little bit about that, because I remember when you first launched Matchroom USA, one of your selling points, as it were, was, you know, we work with everybody. You were doing a deal with Dimitri Salita and various other guys. Seemingly lately, that kind of doesn't still seem the same. Not that you're not working with anybody, but as you say, people potentially don't want to see you succeed, or you're going out there and you're ruffling a few feathers, I think it's probably fair to say.
They've always not wanted us to succeed, and when I say work with anyone, we do. And the people that you're mentioning there don't have network deals. Obviously, if you're working on one network, you're unlikely to work with another promoter who's on another network, because your objective is to provide great fights for that network, and so is theirs. That's why us and Frank Warren don't make a lot of fights. It's not because I particularly dislike him, although feelings probably not quite mutual in that respect, but he's trying to produce good content for BT, I'm trying to produce good content for Sky, and that's our objective. So I'm willing to work with all promoters, particularly the ones that don't have the platforms, and there's many of them who have fighters but don't have the platform. So you've seen us work with people before. My primary objective now in America is to make DAZN the home of boxing. You know, they have 16 shows in the UK, 16 shows in the US, and then another major announcement coming in terms of unbelievable content for fight fans in the US on DAZN very soon. So it's going to be a lot of fun, and we're up for the challenge.
So I mentioned Dimitri Salita as just a sort of a throwaway example, but I'm talking more along the lines of guys like Shelley Finkel, Al Heyman, who I understand isn't a promoter. Is there any risk of you potentially upsetting those guys and making it more difficult for yourself?
Yeah, we'll upset all of them. But if they're smart, they'll realise that Al Heyman can't service his fighters. He can't give them what they need. We can. So I appreciate he wants to keep his bigger names on Showtime, but there's a whole roster of fighters that aren't getting the activity or the money that I can offer. So why wouldn't you actually be looking to put them on the platform? More perhaps about control and not wanting to help or give me that leg up to start becoming a dominant force in the US. It's too late for that. It's already happened. So, you know, like I said, we're up for the test, and exciting times ahead.
One of those guys, Gervonta Davis?
I've made an offer to Mayweather Promotions, yeah. He's under contract with them, so I wouldn't make an offer to Gervonta, but to work with Gervonta and more with Mayweather Promotions, and give him an opportunity to fight for huge money.
If you are a fight fan, you cannot not have DAZN. It's $9.99 a month with a free first month. And when you look at, like, just breaking up the months, that first month, 22nd of September, Joshua Povetkin, World Heavyweight Championship, plus a great card. 28th, World Boxing Super Series. 29th, Bellator. October the 6th, here in Chicago, also World Boxing Super Series before that. October the 13th, Bellator, a show from us in the UK, plus World Boxing Super Series. Wow. October the 20th, Saunders versus Andrade. That's the first month. And that's free, by the way.
Wow.
So it's like, but even if that was $9.99, it's about 80 cents a fight night. So as we grow the talent on DAZN, as we continue to fight nights, I think you're going to get to a position where fight fans say, I have to have DAZN. I saw, like, get loads of comments from me, what does Eddie Hearn know about the US market? Like, we're just people. Like, you're not aliens and we're humans, or vice versa.
Right.
We all like the same thing.
Right.
We like a night out, we like great sport, we like to have a good time. So how do you make people have a good time? That's up for us to create the in-event experience, you know, the music, the fights, the atmosphere, the build-up. You've got to learn now about Danny Roman. You've got to learn about Artur Beterbiev, being a brutal knockout artist. So that when you're sitting down here, like, I feel like too many times in American boxing, people turn up and go, right, so what is this then? Worlds collide? Right, who's who then? Who's that up there? Do you know what I mean? Whereas you should be sitting down and going, oh look, that's so and so, that's so and so, but also knowing enough to say, oh that's Beterbiev, oh that's a guy from Chechnya, that guy's a killer, and you know, oh Jesse Vargas, yeah, 2-weight world champion, he fought Pacquiao, you know, etc. Gerald Miller, oh that's that big dude with a big mouth, you know?
Yeah.
Oh Adamek, isn't he like 40? Oh he's, and all these Polish game, like, there's got to be a narrative, there's got to be a story behind every fight, major fight. So,
Did you think of PBC being acquired by Fox Sports recently?
Well, they weren't acquired. They did a rights deal. I think it's great. I mean, the one thing that I think Al Heyman and Top Rank should send me a Christmas card this year, because I've kicked everybody's arse into gear, and all of a sudden we've come out and announced our deal. The Showtime are doing a 3-year deal with PBC. ESPN are sticking some more money into Top Rank. Fox are giving PBC some money. So it's a great time for boxing, and you know, I'm honoured that everybody sees the world boxing scene as a 3-horse race between me, Top Rank and Al Heyman. I'm honestly like chuffed that I'm viewed at that level, but I've got the budget to beat them and I've got the ability to beat them, but that's just me saying it, so we'll have to see if I'm good enough. But what you can be guaranteed of is great fights, loads of competition, and broadcasters spending money, which is the key to any sport to thrive. We're in such a great place at the moment, you know, and it's not a case of I'm going to beat Bob Arum and ESPN, I'm going to beat Al Heyman. But I believe that over time, with the platform that I have and the investment that I have and the ability that I have, that we will be number one. And if this old fat geezer from Britain can go all the way over to America and dominate, it would be some achievement. But we do live in a country that's a little bit weird, where when you start doing quite well, it's like as a fighter, I've seen fighters start achieving and I don't know, like people rebel. I say to people on the internet, like Al Heyman announced his deal, a couple of Brits come on and went, ah ha ha Eddie, now you're up against Al Heyman with money. I said, brilliant. I said, but why not?
Are you referring to people on that commented?
Yeah, just said, oh, how'd you feel, Eddie? I said, bloody great.
Yeah.
We've got more people spending money in the sport. But why not say, go on Eddie, you're over there, go and kick some arse, mix it up a little bit. But already I think we've had a great impact over there, not just with the shows we're doing, but with what's happened to the landscape in the last 3 months. Incredible. So what a great time for boxing. And like I said, if Al Heyman and Bob Arum and Top Rank give me a little bit of commission for getting those deals over the line for them, I'll be very happy.
Did it not dampen it, but did you think of some PBC fighters that you were going to get on board and now this has happened?
No, I don't think the rights fee, the individual for rights fee from Fox is not going to make super fights. So those super fighters, it doesn't really affect that. What it's going to do, which I think is very important, is to probably give the lower level guys more activity, which is exactly what PBC guys do. So it's a great deal for PBC. But I don't think it affects us in terms of the big names that we're focusing. We've got a signing coming tomorrow, huge name, pound for pound top fighter, and you know we will continue to sign elite fighters.
With Canelo and Joshua on the DAZN now, is the DAZN the proverbial A-side in any network negotiations going forward? Would that be the stance?
Well, when you talk about network negotiations,
like
I mean,
with fighters who are like, you know, like.
But ultimately, if you want to fight Canelo, you have to be a DAZN fighter.
Okay.
If you want to fight Joshua, you have to be a DAZN fighter. And this Saturday, 3 days' time, Demetrius Andrade goes for the world middleweight title. And in 10 days' time, in this room, Danny Jacobs goes for the world middleweight title. So in 10 days' time, touch wood, DAZN have the entire roster of middleweight world champions. So people like Charlo, you've no fights for you. If you want to be a world middleweight champion, you better join DAZN ASAP. Right? And the same will happen across divisions. The light heavyweight division as well. We've got Beterbiev. I think he's probably the best fighter in the light heavyweight division. Right? We'd like to sign Bivol. In fact, I'd like to do that fight. Beterbiev against Bivol. Can we get out Elder Alvarez as well? Then if we can get 2 or 3 light heavyweight world champions, fantastic. Now we've got Tevin Farmer. Can we get Gervonta Davis? That fight should be made next, if he wins on Saturday night. So it's just time. You know, we haven't even had 1 month yet of going live.
For the ones that are pay-per-view worthy, like Joshua and Wilder, would that be joint?
Forget pay-per-view.
Okay.
It's done. Yeah. It's finished. Finished in America. This is the future. Because you've only got 1 pay-per-view fighter in America. It's Canelo Alvarez. He's gone. He's no longer a pay-per-view fighter. So, are there pay-per-view fights? Maybe. But I don't want to speculate on a Joshua Wilder pay-per-view. I want the money up front from DAZN.
So there was never going to be any chance of a joint network going on as far
I don't think there needs to be.
sort of telecast?
It's just who wants to put out the most money.
How's the relationship with Top Rank and ESPN? Only
Really
asking
good, really
because,
good.
You know,
Yeah.
168 they have Ramirez and 160
Yeah.
they have Murata. So are those fights when it comes to unification or undisputed? Like that can happen?
No, because Murata is not a fight that can fight for an undisputed title. He has a regular world title. He cannot be involved in an undisputed fight or a unified fight because the other governing bodies do not see that as a recognised world title. In terms of the 168, they have Ramirez. We have Callum Smith, who's a WBA world champion. You know, I think our relationship with Top Rank, what we're doing is very similar to what Top Rank and ESPN are doing. And we have a good relationship, we respect Top Rank, and I believe that ESPN Plus and DAZN are actually the future of boxing. I think if you're a fight fan, you should have both. It's $15 a month.
So there could be a DAZN/ESPN card if it.
Oh, steady on. Steady, one step at a time. No, I don't know. We're competitors, but it's friendly. And I think these other networks and platforms are going to be looking at boxing like HBO did. I expect Showtime to leave the sport in 12 months because it's too ferocious, it's too competitive, that people like, not Stephen Espinoza, but the people above him will look at boxing and go, this is expensive. And I'm not sure it's generating the business that we need it to. Just like HBO did. It wasn't a decision of Peter Nelson, it was just the bosses looked at it and said, this market's gone crazy, everything's too expensive, and we're not delivering the numbers. So
I think Bob Arum, he said the same thing.
Yeah,
but Showtime might be.
I think Bob Arum's right. I think Showtime have a very limited future in boxing. Yeah.
So that's a fight you said, you know, like Charlo must come to the zone.
Yeah, he must.
In order for any of those big middleweight fights to happen.
Yeah, he must, because Showtime can't pay the money that we're paying. So Andrade don't want to go anywhere. You know, Jacobs wants the most money possible, and we're willing to pay Charlo well over the top of anything he's ever earned.
They've seemed open-minded on social media. Have there been any meetings with Charlo?
Lots of chat. I mean, I spoke to him a couple of days ago, just messaging. But it's just like, you have to understand that if you're a fighter, all that advisors are telling you at the moment is that DAZN, it's not going to work. I mean, like, you're never going to get a big name fighter on DAZN. And then Joshua goes on DAZN, and everyone goes, yeah, but he's British. Yeah. Now Canelo goes on DAZN in 11 fights. They'll probably go, yeah, but he's Mexican. Like, you know, it's like, at what point do you say this is for real? You know, and it's not even a month deep. So, like, you've got all these guys standing up, like, you know, and let's, you know, all the arguments. Will they get the big names? Yes, they've got them now. And they've got world champions and they've got other guys. Will they get the subscribers? Yes, we've been getting them, and now we get Canelo. If Canelo can do 1.1 million buys at $85.99, how many subscribers can he bring free of charge? Yeah, he's going to bring over 1 million subscribers in his December fight. So then he's going to fight Jacobs, then he's going to fight Golovkin, and you're not even going to have to pay pay-per-view for it. So then Joshua's going to fight Wilder, and it's going to be part of your monthly subscription. You know?
Have the Tom Loeffler talks happened?
Yeah, I've spoken to Tom Loeffler. He has to. He has to.
Okay.
I mean, the carrot will be more probably from Golden Boy saying, come with us and we'll give you the Canelo fight. We can't do that. We can't give that carrot. But does he want to go with Golden Boy? Or does he want to come with us? Either. But he has to be on DAZN. Otherwise he ain't getting a Canelo fight. So this is what you're going to see now. You're going to see a natural progression of fighters knowing that they have to be with DAZN to get certain fights.
What are some names out there going down the line? Because we know that Canelo is going to bring the dates out there and he's going to bring the fights. What are some other names we can talk about with Canelo?
Well, I think firstly, if you're going to fight Canelo, you have to be with DAZN. So you have to look at the guys that are in the running. And interestingly, this Saturday, Demetrius Andrade goes for the WBO world title. Obviously, he's our fighter, he's a DAZN fighter. If he wins, he throws himself into that mix as well. Next Saturday, in here, Danny Jacobs fights Sergey Derevyanchenko for the IBF world title. You'd expect that he will end up being a DAZN fighter as well, with HBO going out of business. He, I think, is a real front runner for Canelo in the spring, in May. So there is a chance that in 10 days' time, every middleweight belt holder could be a DAZN fighter. And that's what we're looking to do across all the divisions. So the other people that are out there, I mean, you think about people like Charlo, you know, and these kind of guys, you can't win a middleweight world title unless you're with DAZN. You can't fight for one. So we're not trying to stop fights or block fights. We're just trying to say this is where you need to be.
So no joint deals potentially with a Charlo. Say he secures a belt, he's got a belt, Canelo has a belt. You want to make that fight happen?
He can't. Yeah, but he can't get a belt. I mean, for Charlo to get a belt, he will have to fight on DAZN.
Right. They have all the belts.
Exactly.
The middleweights,
yeah.
at least. The middleweights, at least. Right.
So but we'd love Charlo on the platform.
Right.
But what this deal helps solidify is there's a lot of naysayers out there in boxing. A lot of people who are trying, I said out there, poo-poo what we're trying to do.
A lot of haters.
Will he get any star fighters? Okay, Anthony Joshua comes on, he opens the platform. Yeah, but you added now Canelo's joined the platform. You know, we're going to have another world champion, I believe, on Saturday, in Demetrius Andrade. Danny Jacobs, Beterbiev looks great. So all of a sudden, the other fighters that are so close to making a move, but have these people in their ear saying, don't do it, don't do it. When Canelo signs an 11-fight deal, you better make sure that you pay attention. And this is a massive, massive deal for DAZN, for Golden Boy, and for Matchroom as well.
One last thing, Eddie. Now, with this deal with Golden Boy, they've secured dates for themselves. Is that going to be something where you kind of cross-promote Matchroom guys with Golden Boy guys to make great cards for the fans?
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, the aim of Golden Boy and DAZN and Matchroom is to make DAZN as big as possible, to have as many subscribers as possible. We will have fights on the card on December the 15th. They will probably have some slots on our shows. We will have slots on their shows. We'll be making fights together. So we have to work together in that respect. So, you know, I saw some people say, oh, is that coming out of your dates and your money? No, thank the Lord. But we want to bring as many promoters to the platform as possible. I'd like every promoter in boxing to be on DAZN, because then we've got every fighter in boxing on DAZN. And, you know, you'll quickly see the fights that are made between Matchroom and Golden Boy as well.
Want to tell our audience a little bit about this new app, DAZN?
Yeah, new streaming system. I mean, you know, there's a lot of people who sort of don't understand streaming and think that you can only watch it via your phone or your iPad. No, you watch it via your big screen like any other network, any other platform. And basically what DAZN are doing is they're coming in and trying to sort of eradicate the pay-per-view model. You know, we all feel that at $84.99, this is a lot of money for pay-per-view. And we think that fans actually get a raw deal, and I think this is an opportunity to really look at fighters like Canelo and take them off pay-per-view, you know, and put them on DAZN at an affordable price. You know, his fight with Rocky Fielding, which notoriously would be an $80 pay-per-view on HBO, is now free to people joining DAZN. And moving forward, it'll be a monthly subscription at $9.99 a month to watch the fights like, you know, Anthony Joshua or Canelo against Golovkin. So it's going to save you a lot of money. And obviously there's over 80 fight nights a year as well. So, you know, we've launched the platform just over a month ago. Anthony Joshua's been on, Canelo's on, Demetrius Andrade just won the World Middleweight Championship on DAZN as well. So good times ahead and exciting times for boxing. You know, now's the time. I mean, UK fight fans are a little bit lucky in that they only pay $25 for pay-per-view. You guys pay like $85, sometimes $100 for pay-per-view night. Yeah. So really, you look at what DAZN are doing. They're saying we're going to give you Canelo Jacobs, Canelo Golovkin, or Jacobs Golovkin, maybe Wilder Joshua. You don't even have to pay pay-per-view. So of course, the UK fans are looking at it going, "Wow, that's a great model." So, you know, I don't think DAZN have any immediate plans to move into the UK. I'm sure one day they will, but you know, right now the US fight fans should be taking advantage of this opportunity on DAZN.
Right.
We're a year and a half in. We're now really starting to get grips with things. If you look at our sort of last run of shows, we had 9,000 in Chicago for Usyk. We had 12,000 at KSI Logan Paul. We had 10,000 at Danny Jacobs, Julio Cesar Chavez. We'll have 10 or 11,000 here tomorrow night. No one's really selling tickets like that, to be honest, consistently. And I feel like that's going a little bit under the radar, which is fine. And we're doing it with, in my opinion, the best platform, but also the one with the least brand presence, if you like.
Right.
You know, so we're up against it, but I feel like we're doing really well. I feel like no one's giving value like we are in terms of the cards from top to bottom. This is another great example of how we consistently put on deep shows and deep cards, and it's something that's worked really well for us in the UK and something that we're trying to do over in America, and I think it's working. And like I say, I think we're starting to develop a little bit of brand power ourselves
and even egotistically, me. So, which is important as a promoter.
Well, you just took a million photos.
Yeah, but rather than just a guy who's this guy from England, you know, someone who's actually making an effort here, having a presence here, and that's important as well, because the fighters will always take priority, but I've got to be the mouthpiece, you know, the voice, and the guy who, when I talk, hopefully the fans listen and hopefully they like what I do.
Well, it's interesting you brought up ticket sales because recently Bob Arum was saying that's such a problem in America.
It is a problem.
So,
I mean, but I feel like it's a problem, and certain areas are bigger problems than others. You know, wedged in between those great numbers, we did Miami, which was only like 3,500. I mean, I only held that anyway, but you know, we couldn't have done many more, to be honest with you. And you know, other cities as well, you struggle in cities where maybe there is a lot of boxing, or maybe there is a lot of theatre and performing arts and
Super Bowl.
Yeah, everything. but you know, a good example of that is New York. You know, I think you've seen a lot of people that have consistently struggled in New York because there are a lot of fights there. When you come to Dallas, although there are a lot of fights in Dallas as well, this has been a great partnership with Jerry Jones and the Dallas Cowboys, where they've really got behind the event and pushed the event. There'll be a wonderful crowd in there tomorrow night. Phoenix was a big win for us, you know, although I got a few beers thrown at me in the end.
But that's a good thing.
Chavez. It was wild. It was wild in there, and you know, again, KSI Logan Paul 13,000, Usyk 8,500, 9,000. We're consistently getting it right now, and I feel like you know we've got great momentum.
Was there any surprise in coming to the United States and you had this great budget that the fighters haven't jumped at it when you're able to exceed purses and all? Is there any? Did you think it all?
It surprised me a little bit. I mean, a lot of it was intentional arrogance from me at the start. You know, again, I have to be that guy. I have to be that loudmouth. I have to be that brash guy. I have to be that, you know, like I said, that loudmouth promoter. But I did expect it to be easier to sign some of these big names. I didn't expect it to take so long. Now we don't want anyone else. You know, I'm not looking to bring any other big names to the platform. Maybe on a one-fight scenario or something like that, because we're maxed out for our obligations. Do you know what I mean? Like, I can't just bring in another 5 fighters and tell them they're going to box 3 times a year, because we fall into the old trap that some people have had of telling fighters they're going to box 3 times a year and actually only box them once a year. And then, you know, I don't want to lie to anyone. I want to make sure that I can deliver on all my obligations to fighters. So, you know, with the addition of Mikey Garcia, with maybe a Manny Pacquiao fight in July, you know, you've got Gennady Golovkin, you've got Canelo Alvarez, you've got Anthony Joshua, you've got Alexander Usyk, you've got Dillian White. Like, how many more, you know, Demetrius Andre, you know, Juan Estrada, how many more can you get? I mean, I feel like we have by far the best stable in the world from top to bottom, and I feel like we have the best schedule in the world. So in that respect, a year and a half in, I'm over the moon with how it's gone. But I'm very self-critical, and there's loads more we can do, loads more. But I think probably I was a little bit, not deluded, not arrogant.
Naive?
Naive's a good word.
Optimistic, idealistic.
Naive, where I just presumed I'd stroll in and sell out arenas straight away, and you know, it's taken me a year and a bit longer than I thought it would be to make an impact. But now I really feel like we're making an impact.
Right. Like you said earlier, when you're starting DAZN, people were kind of being suspicious, like, is this going to work? Is this not going to work? And now, obviously, there's a lot of, I guess, speculation and rumors that you guys are overpaying fighters. What do you got to say to that? Are people saying, like, oh, they're overspending with their budget on their fight? I don't know how they know your budget, but they know about the fighters being overpaid. And
I would say yes, they're absolutely right. Congratulations to the fighters. I mean, when you enter a market with really no brand recognition, you know, we're not ESPN that just launch an app. You know, we're not Fox, we're not Showtime. So we come in and all those barriers that we had up, what I discussed, you know, about my conversations with Mikey, the only way that you're going to attract a fighter is to essentially overpay him. It's our job now and DAZN's job, and it is happening, to bring that money down a little bit, because it's going to kill everybody else. You know, at some point, Showtime are going to, well, they are already, looking at the money that fighters are getting and saying, I'm not sure we want to do this anymore. HBO almost anticipated it. You know, they saw this madness coming and went, do you know what? We'll step back. Boxing's not that important to us. That's the reality. So we're going to leave it and we're going to let you guys fight it out. But it's the survival of the strongest and the fittest, and the one with the deepest pockets that's probably going to prevail. So from a DAZN perspective, they don't want to, you know, it's not, we don't sit in board meetings and say we must overpay fighters, you know. But they also understand that to bring them to this platform, that had to happen initially. Now, with the roster they have and with the schedule they have, they don't really need to do that anymore. But more importantly, with the subscriber base they have, now they've got serious subscribers. And I think one of the problems when we first launched is we were coming from a standing start. You know, so people, the argument would be, oh, you can't fight on DAZN, you'll be lost, no one's watching. But now we're delivering bigger numbers than Showtime. You know, so, and we're just getting started. And the last sort of 6-7 weeks have been so important for DAZN. Canelo Kovalev, KSI Logan Paul, Joshua Reese. There have been 3 really big subscription moments that have taken their numbers to big levels. But if you don't keep doing those fights, the numbers will churn month by month. Pay-per-view boxing, I believe, will be finished in America over the next few years.
Yeah, pay-per-view model. I mean, it was Anthony Joshua, it was Canelo. It was becoming less and less pay-per-view stars in the world of boxing. Now with this deal, you have to think that the pay-per-view model is dying a very slow death.
There is no US pay-per-view star in boxing anymore, you know. And this new subscription-based service, which will be such a better financial deal for fight fans, will be the future, because you can't expect fight fans or the public to pay $85 or $100 for a fight. You know, we charge $25 in the UK for one of Joshua's big fights. You know, and again, it's, you know, it doesn't leave a great taste in the fans' mouth, but we have to do it. Now, with the launch of DAZN, Canelo is able to do a deal where he doesn't have to charge people that kind of money to watch him fight. In fact, the Rocky Fielding fight will be completely free to DAZN customers and anyone that signs up to DAZN in December. So it's a complete game changer in that respect. And, you know, I think it's going to start making fans realise that if there is a pay-per-view, I'm against it, because why would I spend $90 on a pay-per-view when I can get nearly a year's subscription on DAZN? And when we talk about DAZN, we're not just talking about Canelo Alvarez and Anthony Joshua. We're talking about 32 Matchroom fight nights a year. Now Golden Boy have dates as well. The World Boxing Super Series, 3 weight classes. You know, Bellator, Combat Americas, they'll be announcing other sports this week. And we also have to remember, DAZN is not a fight sports platform. It just is through launch. Very quickly, there'll be other sports that are added to the platform that are going to make this very attractive to the subscriber. The news wasn't about streaming fights. Right. The news was about the biggest and only pay-per-view star in America coming off pay-per-view.
Signing
and
a
joining
10
DAZN.
fight, 11 fight
and when
deal.
you think about it, yeah, let's be real here. People have been paying $85, $100 for his fights. They're now going to get it free in December. They're going to get it as part of their monthly subscription. It's madness. And it will probably kill pay-per-view boxing in America, which with that kind of price point is a good thing, I think, because we're $25 in the UK for Joshua fights. You know, and I still get booed out of the stadium. But $85 and $100, you know, this is a changing of the way boxing is digested in the US, and it's not about streaming. Streaming's been around for ages. That's just what we do. But it's more about taking this guy, and this guy has decided to come off pay-per-view. You know, and remember that pay-per-view always seems to be the promised land for any fighter.
So that's all we know. That's been a narrative for so many years, since even before Tyson. You know, so that's all we know is that's the pinnacle
to be a
of the sport, to be a pay-per-view.
But there's
fighter.
never been a broadcaster or a platform before that have come in with guaranteed money to substitute the revenue created by pay-per-view. So what you're saying is we're going to save you, the public, money because you've been funding these fights.
We're going to save you $85 million.
Yeah, exactly. So it's quite unique, really, and I think it's brilliant for fight. I think that unless you're Floyd Mayweather, unless you're Conor McGregor, unless you're Canelo, who is no longer on pay-per-view, then I think pay-per-view is dead unless the price point changes. $84.99. I mean, our pay-per-views are $25 with Joshua. $85 is a lot of money, especially if you've got one in December, January and February. At what point is the fight fan going to turn around and go, oh, it's enough, it's enough? You don't mind a little one-off, you know, you get your friends round, you have your pizzas, you have your Tecates, but every month, you know, because you're going to get to a level where fans are going to say, I don't know, Garcia against Spence, great fight, but no, we're not paying $90 for that fight. Pacquiao Broner, no. You know, Wilder Fury. You know, they're not Canelo Golovkin. They're not Mayweather Pacquiao. They're not.
Granted, I don't think that Triple G needs Canelo.
I'm very, very impressed with DAZN. I was sitting next to the owner, and I believe it was his first fight, and he was ecstatic. He was so motivated to continue even pumping even more money into the sport of boxing. And that's music to my ears, because I can now rest assured that boxing is alive and well for many years to come. And the last words he told me was, I'm sorry, Oscar, but pay-per-view is dead. And I agree with him. I believe that with all the resources that this gentleman has, he's gonna make any fight happen on his platform, DAZN. So I was very, very impressed.
We have big fights on DAZN, more to come. Stay tuned, enjoy.
Bernard, one question. Why are the other promoters in the US hating on Mr. Hearn, in your opinion?
He's a handsome guy, first of all. Look at him. And second, listen, it's excitement. He brought a lot of attention and competition and a different way of viewing boxing, and also being able to experience boxing through a lot of ideas. And I'm not saying he came up with it all together, but I think that the pieces that he's involved in and influence that he had from over, say, across the pond, bringing them here to the States, is a game changer. I mean, come on, man, it's a game changer. Pay-per-view is not in a coma, is deceased, it's over, it's really over. So let's keep it real. This man has brought, Eddie Hearn has brought a new way of looking at boxing from a boxer's point of view, which I'm retired, for boxers, and also the way boxing is being seen across the world. So that's why I say I salute him, I respect him, and I say keep doing it with the partnership of Golden Boy Promotion and other partnerships that he tends to do as time moves on. We want to make the best fights and make the best fighters who they want to be. They have to do the work. We set it up, and it's going to take care of itself.
News on DAZN, see people spreading rumours. News on DAZN coming soon. Don't believe everything you hear. Got meetings on Friday to sort the schedule. Can you speak on the DAZN situation? There is no DAZN situation. You know, every time I post, I've got a million bots that go, oh yeah, DAZN's gone broke, oh DAZN, this and that. Just wait and see. We've got a meeting on Friday to discuss the schedule coming up. It ain't ideal times for anybody. I mean, if you've got a subscription company where you haven't that thrives off live sport and there's been no live sport, it's obviously not the best. But we're cracking on, mate. And I see people, oh, Eddie Hearn. I see like Leonard Ellaby. Fucking hell, geez. I was going to say something then, but that's why. They're clowning the DAZN for being bankrupt. What's your thought? I think Mr. Blavatnik's going to be just fine.
Are DAZN satisfied with what Eddie Hearn and Matchroom have produced for them so far?
Yes. We're building a real momentum, I think, at the moment. The last couple of months, I think, have been a real step change since we. I think the back end of last year with the making of the Canelo Rocky fight really set in motion for us a big shift of momentum in terms of our sort of core business metrics, like our subscribers and our brand awareness. The fact we're attracting big name fighters to the platform, generally in longer term broadcast deals, multi-fight deals. The fact we're making our major fights with those fighters. You know, Canelo's a good example. He could have fought. There was a discussion in the industry that Canelo's deal with us would allow him to fight against a number of sort of low-level opponents. He's not doing that.
You know, obviously my job is to blow things up.
Got you.
To sell.
I understand.
But look at the schedule on DAZN.
Yeah.
Right? And tell me a better schedule from another platform. In my opinion, it doesn't exist. I'm not talking about pay-per-view fights either. I'm talking about from a platform, show me a better schedule.